Third period starts. What's going to happen in Pittsburgh? Power play. Fuck. No. Patrick Hornqvist again. You fucker. First line right winger. Don't do this to me. The analysts are going to eat me alive. Don't do it. No. Fuck. Fucking Robin Lehner. Fucking Hornqvist. Fucking Perron. We had it in game 6. We fucking had it.
All right, boys, we are back, and it's time to head into the year 3 offseason with your Ottawa Senators. And how I wish I was able to say heading into the Eastern Conference Finals, but it just wasn't in the plans this year. The Ottawa Senators kicked out in round 2 against the veteran Pittsburgh Penguins in game number 7. Oh, man, what a horrible way to go out, man. Horrible way. And I know I was blaming Robin Lehner, but you know what? Looking back at the series, he actually did not have that bad of a round 2, I guess you could say. Game number 1 was an overtime loss, right? So he did get to the end of regulation with the 2 goals against. Game number 2, 1 goal against. Game number 3, I think it was 3 early goals. We got 2 in the third period to make it close. So, okay, you can blame him for that one, I guess. Game number 4, we got enough goals, so it didn't matter. Game number 5, all right, he didn't have the greatest game, but we won in overtime, so it doesn't matter. Game number 6, that one was harsh. It was an overtime game. I know he went into overtime with only 2 goals against, but he allowed that late third period marker. But still, it would have been nice to get a few more goals, right? And game number 7, the guy only allowed 2 goals. So, I mean, Robin Lehner, he certainly didn't steal us the series. I would have liked to. I mean, we had 2 chances to win, right? Game number 6, we had like 3 minutes left. That's what I mean. He could have stolen that from us. They won it. They tied it. They won it in overtime. Then they pushed game 7. They won that one as well, right? So, pretty harsh. But you know what? We can blame Robin Lehner, but I don't know, man. I think you got to look at guys like Taylor Hall and Bobby Ryan, because we needed offense in those last 2 games, and they just did not show up for us, right? So let's just take a look here. And I want to just say before we get too far into this video, I'm more than likely 99.9% sure that the draft is not going to happen in this video. I want to set it up for you guys because I know we didn't have a successful year. We didn't continue to the 3rd round. So I assume major changes do need to happen, all right? So let's just take our time here. So Mark Stone, 12 points in 11 games played. Bobby Ryan, he did have 10 points in 11 games played. All right, so Bobby's not bad. Kyle Turris, 8 and 11. Zach Smith, 7. Taylor Hall, no goals in the playoffs. That's rough for Taylor Hall. Now, we were playing him on the second line, right? But yeah, I mean, you can blame Robin Lehner, but game 6 and game 7, all we needed was a few more goals, and we would have taken it. If we could have gotten 3 goals before the end of regulation in either game 6 or 7, we would have won, right? So we just did not get the offense there. Zibanejad, Hoffman, Ward, Lazar, all right, all these guys down here. Defensively, Erik Karlsson, 11 and 11. Cody Ceci, 7, all right. +5, +7, very good. And we'll check out Robin Lehner. See what I mean, boys? I mean, it was still a respectable series for a goaltender. Save percentage 93.54. Ah, man. It's just that game 6, you know, to see a game 6 where you're like 3 minutes away from winning the series and then your goaltender to allow it in. It's just, it's rough stuff, right? So let's do the, let's simulate up to the draft here. I have a lot of things I want to say. But like I said before, we're not going to do the draft, but we do have some comments that I want to read. Actually, look at this. It's your boss. Well, I have to admit that I'm impressed with the season and the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators had a pretty good year, and when it's all said and done, and a large part, when it's all said and done, and a large part of that is thanks to you. Well done. All right, very good. See, I mean, it was a better year than last year, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's go through some comments while it's doing simulating here. Hall and Ryan aren't producing because you lack a star playmaker. You need someone who could make the others better around him, like the old Joe Thornton, Jonathan Cheechoo in 05-06. Yeah, remember that? Jonathan Cheechoo, a 50-goal season. So I guess this guy's saying that Kyle Turris is not getting it done. All right, so that kind of, I can see that. All right, because a first line like Crosby type playmaker, yeah, that would be nice. Next comment, Johnny, if you want to make a really good run with this team, you need a guy who you can always trust to get that big goal and also dominate in the regular season. So I think these guys are both kind of hinting towards the same guy, first liner who can just put up ridiculous amounts of points, right? And I thought, Taylor Hall was that guy. But look at this, Johnny, I hate to say it, but get rid of Taylor Hall. His point production to salary ratio is a joke. With a $7 million cap hit, you think he could actually score a freaking goal. That's true, man. No goals in the playoffs. I say either try and trade him for a good veteran or someone who is around his skill level and age / little older. Move him at the draft day, but that's just my 2 cents. My God. So we just picked up a former first overall pick, Taylor Hall, last year, and now because he didn't get anything done, we want him to trade him again. Oh, God. All right, so they want to offer me a contract. Hang on a second. Let me just get this done. Ottawa Senators, 4 years. All right, so this guy's saying to trade away Taylor Hall. And look at this comment. Here come all the people that beg for him to get Hall to trade him away because he doesn't have a hat trick in every game like they thought. Exactly, right? And plus, I don't want to trade away anyone on this team that still has potential stars. Taylor Hall has still got like 4.5 gold star potential. He could still grow. A guy like Bobby Ryan, he's hit his max, right? So, I don't know. You're being a little bit harsh on Taylor Hall there. Next comment. Last year, we gave Robin Lehner the benefit of the doubt. This year, he collapsed too many times in the third period. Yeah, that last round was rough. But his stats still weren't that bad, man. Do you want a Fleury number 2 for your team? I hope not. Trade away Lehner for an older goaltender that can help out before Mackenzie Savard is ready. That's my opinion. Do what you have to do, Johnny. See, I was kind of hoping that Robin Lehner could be the goaltender until Mackenzie Savard takes over, right? But before we go ahead, I got a hilarious fan art that I had to show here. Look at this. In the name of Eugene of the House Melnick, first of his name, owner of the Senators and its faculty or its affiliates, Lord of the franchise and protector of the brand, I, Johnny of the House Superbman, general manager of the Ottawa Senators and warden of Ottawa, sentence you, Robin Lehner, to the trading block. Ned Stark, he's going to cut off Robin Lehner's head. But don't do it, Ned. Lehner saw the White Walkers. Calm the fuck down. All right, that's a great one. I love Game of Thrones. That's a great one. All right, so look at this. All the Stanley Cup champions, but the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, so Steven Stamkos, he got it done there in Tampa Bay. That makes sense. So we didn't lose to the Stanley Cup winning team, which would have been kind of a silver lining for us, right? But, yeah, man. So I could already tell ahead of time what you guys were going to say in the comments about the guys who didn't get it done. Robin Lehner, obviously, one being the major one. Taylor Hall, Kyle Turris, Bobby Ryan. All right, these guys. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to trade them, but let's just go through this step by step to really figure out what is necessary for this team. All right, because if you ask me, I know you guys may think it's a disappointing year, but if you ask me, I don't really think it's that disappointing. Now, hang on a second. I'll explain myself in a sec here. Let's just see. Ottawa. So we lost Chris Phillips. Chris Phillips. He spent his whole career here in Ottawa, and he couldn't win a Stanley Cup. One trip to the final. Got beat by Anaheim in 5 games, I believe it was. But thank you very much for your time here, sir, of Chris Phillips. It was a hell of a fun time. Joel Ward, we're losing our one of our bottom 6 grinders. I guarantee you this guy helped us out during the regular season. That's why we were one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, right? So, I mean, it sucks that he retired, but I think he was low 80s overall anyway. We could probably find someone in free agency. And Green, he was a depth player. We actually didn't have too many injuries this year, so thank you very much, you 3, but it's time to retire for all of you. All right, there you go. Let me sort by games played. You guys told me about this. So Marleau, Thornton, Phillips, Hank Sedin, Richards, Caberle, Gill, Ribeiro, Fisher, Campbell, Ferentz, Datsuk. Oof, Datsuk's gone. Neal, Chris Neal, he's gone from Anaheim as well. So a lot of older. Oh man, Zetterberg and Datsuk gone in the same year. Whew, that's rough. Goaltenders, let's see. Cabby Hoolin and Ryan Miller. Very good. All right, so what I was saying about our season. I still think it was a great season for a team like the Ottawa Senators. I know we didn't get to the third round, but if you think back to last year, right? Last year, we had only 90 points during the regular season. We improved to 96 this year. It's weird that we had less goals for and more goals against, but yet we had more points. But whatever, that doesn't matter, right? But last year, we got smoked in Game 6 from the Montreal Canadiens. It was, 5 goals on 8 shots from Robin Lehner in the first period. This season, we took it to Game 7, and, you know what I forgot to show you guys? Yeah, can I go back that far still? And every single game that we lost against the Pittsburgh Penguins was a 1-goal game. Look at this. 3-2 in overtime. 3-2 regulation. 3-2 in overtime, 2-1. Every single game was a 1-goal game. So even though we lost in Game 7, I think we did improve from a Game 6 blowout. You know what I mean? And when it comes to the simulation engine, I mean, we were one bounce away from getting to that Eastern Conference final. The overtime in Game 6, had the game been nice to us, giving us the goal, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. So I know it's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, but I still feel like it was a good run for our team this year. I truly do. Now, hang on one second. Okay, so let's continue here. And like I said, we're not going to do the draft in this video, but I want to prepare a lot and figure out what potential trades we can make, which assets are assets that I'm comfortable with moving away. All right. If you guys think that a serious change needs to be made, then let's take a look at what we have. All right. But like I said, I don't want to trade away anyone who still has potentials. Now, the good thing about Robin Lehner, the good thing about Mackenzie Savard is he's already up to 71 overall. So I'd say, he's probably high 70s, mid to high 70s at the jump this year. You're probably looking at a backup goaltender, not for the upcoming season, but the year after that. So when he's 21 years old, he can probably be a backup. 22, 23, 24, that's when he's going to be a starter. So you're still looking at 2, 3, 4 years for Mackenzie Savard. And that's why I was thinking Robin Lehner is that perfect goaltender, right? Now, we can't trade away Robin Lehner at the draft, boys. It's impossible. He's got to be signed this year, right? And I actually like that because we can sign him to a good contract for us for maybe a year, 2 years, see how he does, and then we can trade him away if we're not a good team in the regular season or whatever, right? But he's only 25 years old with 4-star. He had a decent playoff run. I would not be surprised to see him jump up to an 86 overall by next season. So that's why I want to hold on to Robin Lehner, all right? Who knows what's going to be available in free agency, but I think we can run with Lehner and Savard going forward. I think we have bigger fish to fry when it comes to improving our roster, and that starts with defense. I think, I'm hoping that Weirkosh can jump up. He probably won't, though. He's probably going to stay at 84, and that's not good. Cody Ceci is a good leader as a top 4. I don't know if he's going to become a top 2 defenseman, but going out there and grabbing somebody who can play alongside Erik Karlsson, who's like 88, 89, 90 overall, along with Cody Ceci, not trading away Cody Ceci, maybe trading away Weirkosh, but I think that is a necessity over the goaltending situation. Getting another defenseman straight up, just adding him to the roster who's 87, 88, 89 overall. All right, that's what I would like to do because Phillips is now gone. We can hold on to Braun. We can hold on to Mathot. They still have the 4-star potential. Weirkosh, Ceci, and Karlsson, and then you bring in that last defenseman who's like 87 overall. All right, that's basically replacing Phillips with a top 2 defenseman. That's what I would like to do for defense. Let me just see the potentials for my defenseman. Cody Ceci, Weirkosh, Lenoy, Bear. All right, these guys, LeBlanc, hopefully they jump up. Top 6 defensemen, serviceable at best, right? But trading assets, anyone can be traded on the defensive core, it looks like. Yeah, everyone's got multi-year deals. All right, so I'll just let you guys know about that. Right wingers. Now, see, Bobby Ryan is a guy that I would not mind trading if we're going down that route. If you compare him to a guy like Taylor Hall, I don't want to trade Taylor Hall. Even though he's only got Red Star potential, he could still grow being 25 years old. All right? You look at a guy like Bobby Ryan, he's capped off. So if we're going to trade one of them, I'd rather trade Bobby Ryan. They're both 89. Bobby Ryan's 30 compared to Hall, who's 25, right? But the same thing applies. I think, they may not have had the greatest point-producing seasons, but they were first-liner and second-liners on a team that was one of the best defensive teams in the NHL and a team that got to a Game 7 in the second round, right? So they're still doing something out there. But yeah, Bobby Ryan would be somebody I wouldn't mind trading away. Mark Stone is untouchable, boys. He had a great playoff run. He had a good statistical year. I want to wait until his 3.5 turn White Stars and he's 84 overall before I even think about trading him. All right, because if I trade him at the draft and then all of a sudden he jumps up to 86 or 87 overall with a $2.5 million contract, I'll be pissed. All right, so he's not going anywhere. Condra can't be traded. Dadonov, he's still got his Green Star potential. Hopefully he can play for us next year. All right, there you go. Left wingers, Taylor Hall, he's not going anywhere, boys. He's still got a very good contract. No, he's not going anywhere. Let me see this. Oh, don't you dare go off on me, electricity. There's a thunderstorm out right now. I swear to God, if I have to redo this commentary. Hoffman would be somebody that I'd be willing to trade, but a very good contract. And if we're going to be a playoff team, I wouldn't mind having a second or third liner at 84 overall, right? But he still is a trading asset. Justin Abdelkader, he's a trading asset, but I picked him up. He helped out this year for our playoff run. We were one of the best defensive teams. I'd like to come back next year. I'd like to hold on to both of these guys, right? But still, I know a lot of you guys may not like the season. Kyle Turris, can't trade. We've got to sign him this year. All right. Zabinajad, he's untouchable until he turns 26 with White Star. If he jumps up to an 86 or an 87, that means his trade value is going to jump up, and then we can trade him, right? But he's another guy who's got 2 years left at 2.750. I mean, it's just next year, that's a great contract for him. I don't want to trade him. Tommy Wingolds, we have to re-sign this year. Curtis Lazar, we have to re-sign, so he can't trade. Got to re-sign Zach Smith. Konecki we can trade away, but I mean, it's a prospect. I don't want to trade away the prospects. So yeah, really, the only players that we can trade away would be our defensive core, because they all have long contracts. Bobby Ryan, I'm not trading away Taylor Hall. That's pretty much it. So the older players, our defensemen, and Bobby Ryan are our trading assets, all right? So now that I've showed you guys that, what else do we want to do? Scouting. You know, we can do, just quickly do the awards and the playoff tree and all that stuff. So the Tampa Bay Lightning, there you go. The President's Trophy, the Minnesota Wild, Clarence S. Campbell, San Jose Sharks. So San Jose versus Tampa Bay in the final. Art Ross, Steven Stamkos. Hart Memorial, Steven Stamkos. James Norris, Yossi, second year in a row. Lady Byng, Patrick Kane. Calder Memorial, William Nylander. Conn Smythe, Steven Stamkos. Vezina Trophy, Ryan Miller retires with the Vezina Trophy. Very nice. William M. Jennings, Jeff Zatkoff. Bill Masterton, Dan Girardi, Frank J. Selke, Jonathan Taves, Ted Lindsay, Steven Stamkos, Maurice Richard. Ovi's won it again. All right, there you go. Very nice. Let's just go to the playoff tree quickly. And there you go. There's the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference, damn, they got beaten 5 games. So it's like Tampa Bay would have smoked us probably. All right. I think, no, you know what? I don't even want to say that. Okay, so that's that. Now let's take a look at the scouting report. Now remember, our draft pick this year is probably going to be around, 15 or 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there, right? So we're not getting anyone too spectacular. I know what you guys want me to go after, but I don't know if it's going to happen this year, right? Because we would have to trade away a major roster player and a draft pick to move up. And, I mean, that's not going to help us out for next year, right? You got Mason Shaw, center playmaker. Rod Schwartz, center playmaker. Johnny General Zod, the left wing enforcer, my God. Cale Fleury, defenseman. All right. Bradley Hamonic, right wing power forward. Marcus Dickinson, right wing two-way forward. John Warren, left wing two-way forward. Yamamoto, center playmaker, all right? So there are all the skaters. And goaltenders, there are 2 top 5 goaltenders. Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Dylan Wells. But we already have Mackenzie Savard, right? So there you go. There are the draft picks this year. I think we're in a spot where we should be trading rather than trading for players rather than trading for draft picks. And yes, last but not least, team standings. All right, so let's go through some teams here that, this is where you guys can do some pre-scouting for yourself, all right? So these would be the teams that would be willing to trade away roster players, the teams that did not make the playoffs this year. So if you're looking at for somebody who could be added into our team this year that you think would make us better, look at it from one of these teams. Buffalo, Calgary, Carolina, Anaheim. Anaheim's a good one. I'm going to come back to Anaheim. Colorado, Montreal, Columbus, Arizona, New Jersey, St. Louis, Washington, Edmonton, Toronto, Boston, Winnipeg, the Islanders, Vancouver. All right. Now, these guys have made the playoffs. We'll say teams with less than 90 points. So Boston, Toronto, Edmonton, Washington, St. Louis, New Jersey, Arizona, Columbus, Montreal, okay, blah, blah, blah. But Anaheim's an interesting one because Anaheim does have some good players on it. So we can't go into the draft because I don't want to show you guys. I wish I could just go into trade right now to see which players are available. That really pisses me off. So if we're looking for a defenseman to play alongside of Erik Karlsson, right? The reason I say Anaheim is because they didn't make the playoffs last year. So maybe they'd be looking. And Hampus Lindholm. Ooh, left-handed Swedish defenseman, 90 overall right now. Obviously, this would be a lot to try to go after. But if you guys are suggesting to move up to the top 5 in the draft, right? I'd rather go after an already established defenseman instead of waiting for General Zod for 4 or 5 years to be ready. You could add in Hampus Lindholm to play alongside Erik Karlsson for the next, 8 years. And he would help out guys like Taylor Hall, Zibanejad, Curtis Lazar, Hoffman, Stone. He fits into that age category. Doesn't fit into the age category with Bobby Ryan, but that's what I mean. Maybe Bobby Ryan back to Anaheim for Hampus Lindholm or something. Move up Stone to the first line and Evgeny Dadonov takes over for next year, right? Something like that. Now, that may be a lot to trade for. I mean, 90 overall, but I mean, only 1 year left at 5.18. Yeah, because this is this year. That's next year. So we can get him on a good contract the year after that, right? We could also pick up Nick Ritchie. He's a young player. Cam Fowler, Emerson Edom. All right. Now, I know you guys are saying, well, then why would they trade away young players if they didn't make the playoffs? Because they're looking to shake things up. That's what I'm saying. Well, we like maybe like a guy like Evander Kane being traded and Tyler Myers. You know, let's see. Have they made the playoffs? Sorry about that, boys. Just had a program that popped up on my computer. So yeah, like Hampus Lindholm, they haven't made it past the second round in the 2 years before this, and this year they didn't make the playoffs. All right, so it doesn't look like they're playing the greatest with him on the team, even though he has great stats. Yeah, that would be a hard one to trade for. I'm just coming up with suggestions here, all right? So that would be a nice one. Let's go through some more teams. I think Washington was another team. Let's see. It was Washington. Any defenseman? Karlsson, Niskanen. Karlsson wouldn't be a bad guy. I mean, he's only 3.765 is a very cheap contract. All right. And then maybe we could trade down for a less overall sniper like Andrei Burakovsky. He could play alongside of Zibanejad, and we could trade away like a Bobby Ryan to Washington for Burakovsky and maybe like a Karlsson, then add in like a prospect in there, you know? So this is where I need you guys to come up with the suggestions yourselves, all right? Because I don't know what you guys want. I already have an idea with what I want with this team. I want this team to grow and get better for next year. Some players like Bobby Ryan, I would think about trading maybe when we see the player growth in the preseason, but I know you guys want to see results, right? So I'm going to set up a vote, and this one's going to be a major vote, all right? I'm not going to say that I'm going to do exactly what the vote says, but you know, something needs to happen at this draft, and this vote is going to mean something, all right? So I'll leave a link in the description in the comments. You guys go vote. Let me know, and when we come back, we will reshape the Ottawa Senators franchise so that we can try to win a Stanley Cup next year.